Welcome back to the channel, Muffin Squad. So, I'm talking about my senior year this year of high school D1 cross country and track. Hopefully I can get through both quick enough. So, high school cross country, midway through the summer, I was in really solid shape. I'm in a 10-minute 2-mile in trainers, not even spikes. So I was feeling pretty good, especially because I didn't know how to run a 2-mile. Because I've never raced one. The week following, I started just feeling really sick and my side was hurting, my stomach, and my mom didn't know what was going on. My dad came through the door after work and was asking what was going on and why I was just like basically bedridden on the couch because I couldn't move. It just hurt to move. I had appendicitis and I had to go through surgery. Then I couldn't do anything for a full month. So I went from, let alone this was the day before my birthday, I have to go to the hospital. The next day, I didn't get out of the hospital until 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I spent half of my birthday in the hospital. And then I couldn't race, or I couldn't run or exercise or do anything, lift anything heavy. Couldn't do any sort of exercising thing for a straight month. And exactly 1 month later was the first official day of practice for cross country. So the fact that I had the season that I had is sort of incredible. My oldest brother was impressed. He even told me after my season that he was impressed just how well I did considering what had happened in that mid-late summer situation that I couldn't avoid. So starting off the season, I ran 16:58, and then I just went down, 9, 10, 11 seconds for a couple of races. Went from 16:58 to 16:47 to 16:39 on a fairly hilly course to 16:27, and that was a victory. I won Invitational in 16:27, and that was my only varsity high school victory in cross country. The first ever race in high school cross country I won, and it was a JV race, and then I've never raced JV after that. And then ran 16:57. It was a rainy day. It was starting to rain right as we were getting to the line, and it was a little chilly. It's right off of Lake Michigan, and I decided to keep my long sleeve Under Armour on, and it was not good because that thing started weighing me down. It was very baggy and not a good idea, but it was a grind of a race. And then at conference, I ran 16:29, and that gave me 5th place. Then at sectionals, I ran my best race ever in a 16-minute and 14-second 5K. And I say that my last 200 in that race probably was like 26, 27 because I was absolutely booking it. I felt like I was flying, and it meant a lot to make it to state as a team again that year, and we ended up making it as a team that year. I took 3rd at the sectional meet, and my teammate was right ahead of me in 2nd, so we took 2nd and 3rd, and then our 3rd, 4th, and 5th guys came up big enough where we fairly easily took 2nd place at the sectional meet, which gave us another berth to the state meet. And then at state, I did not have the race I wanted, and if I could have any race back, that would probably be the race. I was in the top 20 to 30 something place the majority of the race, and then in the last mile, and especially the last 1,000 meters, I just started falling apart, and I ended up running a 16:53 and taking 65th place. Our team ended up 17th as a team. We thought we were a top 12 team that year at state, but anyway, that is high school cross country. And now I'll try to get through track here quick. So track season, I ran a 4:32 indoors for the 1600, which was a personal best indoors. That was at conference. I took 2nd place. Fun fact, I was late to the line. Like, they were lined up ready to go, and I was just walking into the gym, and I was so confused on how they were already ready. I must have taken just too long to doze off or something, warming up outside doing active warm-up, which doesn't make sense because to this day I don't understand, but somehow got my number and ran to the line looking like a fool as a senior. and took second place and didn't get disqualified or anything. No coaches challenged it or anything, so that was a blessing. And then outdoor season, I was running the 4x8 and the 1600 almost every race, and our team was solid with the 4x8. We just needed a solid second leg guy, because throughout my whole senior year, our first leg guy, he gave us the baton in first, and then me and another good runner on our team, the number one guy on the cross team, he would do the 2 mile. So him and I were the good miler and 2 milers, and then we would do the third and fourth leg on the 4x8 team. And so we ended up, just very quickly talking about the 4x8, we just didn't make it to state, choked at sectionals. Our second leg guy, unfortunately, just wasn't there. It was unfortunate. I came through, I think I was the anchor that day, came through in a 56, and I just wasn't catching anybody. So then they told me to shut it down to save it for my 1600, and then I'll get back to that 1600 in a bit. The rest of the season for my 1600, after the 432 indoor, I was consistently under 440, and one race I did run like 440 when I felt really horrible and sick, but I still ended up running a 440 and led the race start to finish. My last 3 races of high school, I ran 426 high at sectionals. So that was, I think I split 67, 69, 67, 63. In that last lap, like with 450 to go, a guy from a different school got up to me, up to my hip, and started elbowing me a little, and I was just like, I shook it off, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna dust this guy, because I had a very well-known kick, so I had a gear or 2 left that I could have done, but I was flying anyways. Man, to be back at that'd be awesome. And then state, I was ranked 13th out of 25 at state, so they had to decide whether I was going to be in the fast heat or the slow heat, because I was the breaking point of that. They decided to put me in the fast heat because there were some extra qualifiers who were in the fast heat. So technically before them extra qualifying, I would already be in the fast heat. So I ended up taking 12th overall, 1 place better than I was on paper supposed to take. I ran a 428, and that day, man, state track that year was blazing hot. It was like 95 actual temperature, and to be on a track next to a turf football field, it had to feel like 115 out there or something, just running that. Worst I've ever felt after a race was high school state track. Just the bottom of my feet were on fire, and I just felt horrible. Massive headache after that race, which that stuff didn't really happen that often to me. So, and then I ran a senior spotlight track meet, and I ran 428 that day. It was in Dubuque, and it ended up being just as hot as state, and it was really windy. I took second in the 1600, but yeah, that was my senior year, and then I was getting ready and prepared to go to college and run in college, and I'll tell you about my whole college career in the next one. So until next time, take care, muffins.